Good evening, everyone. You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this is your Red Pill News Brief for Wednesday, December 19th, 2018. I've got some exciting stories for you. Thank you all for tuning in. First of all, I wanted to say that for everyone who was watching the video that I uploaded a couple hours ago, and then it was summarily deleted while they were in the middle of it, I do apologize. That video is actually being uploaded for a friend. It went to the wrong account. I do apologize. But for everyone who enjoyed it, I am going to tell you where to go to watch that video at the end of this broadcast. Now, I want to send people to my friend's channel. He doesn't know that I make these videos. He's been a YouTuber for a long time, and I kind of want to surprise him and see how many people go over there and watch the video and subscribe. And you can say that Red Pill 78 sent you, but he's not going to know who I am. So it's going to be kind of a funny little thing. All right, well, first of all, tonight I've got some Twitter threads I want to go over related to the Arlington dig that we've been involved in for the last week or so. Right here, my buddy on Twitter, Tactical Shed, sent this tweet out to myself and my friend Mike at SpaceShot76. So I'm going to read through the thread, and then we can talk about it. He says, "This is going to be a long one, so stick with me. Did some digging into Arlington. POTUS stopped at this particular grave. Oddly enough, that headstone does not come up in the search index. POTUS photo is taken in section 60. And here is the well-known picture that we have all seen at this point of the Infinity Chan gravesite, Jesse Wade. The last name is obscured, but take note of the names around it. Right here, Kenneth M-O-L, M-O-U, something like that. Over here we have Philip Gulliver, and we have Stephen, someone behind him, Carl Rudy in front, Robert E. Aldrich, perhaps, in the other side. Now, when you type in Jesse Wade, last name was not visible in the photo, it does take you to section 60. And section 60 is right here. Now let's take a look. This right here is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And let's find the keystone. Where is the section that the plane was drawing out? I don't know if it's visible on this portion of the map. I'm not seeing it. Oh well. On to the next tweet. Jesse Wade Stites is the only name that comes up in the search and shows to be in section 60. And right there is the site of Jesse's grave. Here's a close-up of the plot location. And you can see right there with the star marking it. However, the headstone looks very different than the one that POTUS was standing in front of. You can see here this is a group grave, and you'll find out why in a moment. On another note, that on this particular stone, the image above his name is that of an eagle and not the infinity symbol as it is on the stone POTUS is standing in front of. If I type in the name of the headstone adjacent to Jesse, it takes me to a different area of section 60, much further back. You can clearly see this is the headstone to the left of Jesse's headstone in the picture, Philip R. Gulliver. Here is the reverse side of Philip's headstone. Notice the plot number, 6010435. So Philip's grave is marked as such. One would assume that Jesse's grave number would be 60-10436. When that is entered into the search, this is what comes up. No results found. And they direct you to call. And to verify that Jesse should be 60-10436, if I enter 60-10437 into the search, you get Kenneth Mall. Here's the backside of Kenneth's headstone, which you can confirm that Kenneth is buried to the right side of Jesse in the photo with POTUS. Here's some background on Jesse. Marine Corporal Jesse W. Stites died January 19, 2012, serving during Operation Enduring Freedom, assigned to Marine Heavy Helicopter Squadron 363. Died January 19th in Helmand Province, Afghanistan, when the CH-53D helicopter he was riding in crashed. Here's the data that is listed for Jesse's site on Arlington. Birth date, March 8th, 1988. Death date, 1/19/2012. Internment date, 10/24/2013. He was in the Marine Corps, Section 60, and there's his grave, 10488. And Tactical Shed notices that he spelled some stuff wrong. Don't worry, we all get excited, and Twitter doesn't allow you to edit, much like YouTube. We just got to suck it up. All right, and some people were looking around and digging into the graves around Jesse. And this right here is the individual who's listed as in the spot that Jesse's tombstone with the infinity symbol should be at. And Kathy Bovenshin noted that the woman who's buried there, Kitty Golden Wynn, her husband, Tradesman Chief Petty Officer John Augustine Wynn, U.S. Navy, was also buried in 60-10436, according to the Find a Grave website. Tactical Shed says he doesn't think that site is accurate. And this is in relation to how Jesse died. From what I am reading, it was a NATO mission. Taliban is claiming they hit the chopper with an RPG. However, investigators claim it wasn't shot down. Crash site was in enemy territory. Also hearing reports of bad weather that night. And Tactical is apparently in communication with somebody who's friends with Jesse's brother, or at least speaking with Jesse's brother. So perhaps there's a lot more information that's going to come out. And I thought that there were some additional tweets, but maybe not. I was wondering that length of time between Jesse passing and then being buried. Is that normal, or do we have any veterans here or anyone who has had a family member die in a conflict? Is that normal for them to pass away in January of 2012 and then not to be buried until October of 2014? Would that just be like a ceremony, or is that actually the day that he was laid to rest? All right. So next, I had noticed the other day that Air Force One made a flight diverting around Boston airspace, and they went through Chesapeake Bay, or around the coast, rather, and you can see that the flight path is right over where JFK Jr. crashed. Sorry, I can't make that bigger. So this is obviously intentional. It says it was pre-planned. POTUS was friends with JFK Jr., so he would have known that he was flying over that spot specifically. So I do believe that was a message, as I believe the grave itself was a message. QAnon76, this is a great account to follow on Twitter if you do not already. Asks if anyone can locate the geo-coordinates of the Infinity Stone, and asks if anyone can locate the name in Arlington Registry. We have. And there is the headstone again, Jesse Wade. I will say that it looks slightly different from the other headstones around it. These other stones seem to have, almost like ink inside the letters that have been carved out, but Jesse's name does not seem to. It was also said on Twitter that the infinity symbol is not an official symbol that is allowed on tombstones at Arlington. Now, here is a picture that says Chief Jesse Curry, D.A. Henry Wade, and Captain Will Fritz in the Dallas Police Department hallway. I'm assuming that this is after JFK's assassination. So this is from Den of Forensics and Corticon. This, again, is the information for the individual who it shows in the registry, or on this website, pardon me, as being buried in Jesse's spot. So we've got a grave that POTUS has a photo op behind in Arlington as an unscheduled visit. with a name that ties into several people involved in the massacre in Dallas so many years ago. We have his flight over JFK Jr.'s crash site. Could this be a message informing us about JFK Jr.? Also, next we have In the Matrix. He had posted this great proof showing that in the skies on Palm Beach at Mar-a-Lago, that there was an infinity sign created in the air by an Air Force pilot. Definitely not a coincidence. All of these things coming together. Now, Rhino Trader here says, POTUS meant to stop at Jesse Wade Stite's gravestone. A horizontal line from the tomb of the unknown soldier through Jesse's gravestone goes right down M Street Southwest, where the Green Line is buried. Lines angle to the White House and Pentagon at 45 degrees above the line and 45 degrees below the line. So, is Jesse's gravestone a marker for us to locate underground tunnels? If there is an underground facility at Arlington, a deep underground military base perhaps, and it connects to these rail lines that run through D.C. underground, is it too much to think that perhaps Arlington could be a point where they could bug out, essentially, not just hang out and not just store their gold or whatever, but they could go underground here, they could jump on a rail line, and they could take that rail line out of D.C. and escape if they need to. Now, I saw a map, and I'll see if I can pull that up here in a minute, of the underground rails in the United States, and all of these bases connect. So if they could get to Arlington and get out of town, then they would be able to essentially disappear to anywhere in the world, and they may be undetectable because, people would be looking for them above ground. I mean, maybe our government, Trump, would know, and that's why Arlington was closed. One more thing here from Kathy Bovenshin again. She says Jesse Wade Stites apparently has two graves, a single grave and a group one. The ANC search just shows the group grave, but if you search George William Faust at Find a Grave and look at the 5-5 picture, you will see JWS stone with the infinity symbol behind it, and that's right here. Jesse Wade Stites. Now for one more dig from Twitter. Someone earlier had tweeted at me about something they found on IMDb. And right here, John Myers. I ran across this while doing some digging. I haven't seen it yet. May be relevant. All right, I've got it open right here. Section 60, Arlington National Cemetery. It has been called the saddest acre in America, and it is also one of the most sacred. Section 60 in Arlington National Cemetery is the final resting place for young men and women who died fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. For families and friends, it is a place to grieve, to honor, to remember, and to find comfort and community with others who have shared the same profound loss. Filmmakers John Alpert and Matthew O'Neill present this emotional, elegiac documentary filmed entirely in Section 60, where cameras capture the sights and sounds of funerals and provide intimate glimpses of family members and friends who have come to honor their loved ones. I bet you it's probably really good. But it would certainly be neat to check it out and see what it presents, if maybe there's any connections at all. All right, on to the news. Here we have an article from the Gateway Pundit. Trump border wall GoFundMe page breaks $1 million in donations in 3 days despite being censored. I had heard about this yesterday or the day before, and I believe that when I first saw it, it was maybe just below 200,000, maybe like 150, 170,000. And already it's at $1 million. A Florida-based triple amputee veteran has created a GoFundMe push to fund President Trump's border wall through donations from the public. Brian Colfage, who listed the GoFundMe, has also been an active free speech advocate who has spoken against censorship on digital media platforms. There he is, hero with his family. Colfage promises that he will make sure the United States government will be legally required to spend the donations on the wall and only the wall. The GoFundMe page has passed $1 million in donations on Wednesday afternoon. We'll check it out at the end of this and see where it's at. The GoFundMe page is being censored. Brian Colfage, the triple amputee Air Force veteran who is behind the Go Fund the Wall effort on GoFundMe, told the Gateway Pundit that he believes the crowdfunding site has been censoring the fund to build the wall along our southern border. In an update to supporters of the campaign, which is barreling towards 700,000 at the time this was written, in the first 48 hours, he alleges that it is becoming increasingly harder to find the Go Fund the Wall page through the search tool on GoFundMe. Colfage is urging people to share the direct link on social media and with prospective donors in order to avoid confusion. GoFundMe removed our Trump Wall campaign from their top list. We are the top fundraiser right now, and they removed it from the list. We were front and center on their homepage. Do they not want us to succeed? Why are they suppressing us? Just like Twitter and Facebook have done, now GoFundMe? Note, they haven't stopped us from fundraising, they just made it difficult for people to find us. Here it is, right here. You can donate directly by clicking here or sharing this link. Let's go ahead and check it out and see where they're at now. It's just before midnight on Wednesday. Okay. Oh my God. They're almost at 2 million. Holy. Thank you, everybody. That's amazing. 33,072 people in 3 days. It just goes to show you how powerful the will of the American people is. What we can get done without Congress getting in the way. Because Congress and our leaders, many of them, are not interested in doing what's best for the American public. They are interested in only doing what's best for themselves and their funders. Wow, this is great. Good job, Brian. Now, if anybody wants to donate, you can follow the link that I'm going to place in the pinned comment below. If anyone can't find the pinned comment, scroll up all those videos below this video on your phone. Keep going down, down, down. And below the suggested videos, you will find the pinned comments. Well, there's only one pinned comment. All right, next, we have an article from the Daily Caller. This is breaking news. It just came out while I was filming the first segment. The court says ex-Senator Hassan IT aide, who allegedly doxed senators, downloaded more information than was originally understood. This is a note that he wrote. Backup files, mail backup, burn aliases. Yeah, he didn't want to screw it up. Former Senate Information Technology IT aide Jackson Costco was arrested for doxing Republican senators during the Supreme Court confirmation hearings and threatening, "I own everything. If you tell anyone, I will leak it all." On Wednesday, a judge said Costco downloaded more information than was originally understood, and that it was so sensitive it could not be discussed in court. Senator Maggie Hassan had hired Costco despite a prior felony conviction. Then he was asked to resign for undisclosed, unrelated wrongdoing months before the doxing. Representative Sheila Jackson Lee then hired him in the House despite the felony and the prior employment trouble. A former Senate IT aide who allegedly doxed Republican senators by posting their home addresses during the confirmation hearings of Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh and blackmailed a witness downloaded more information than was originally understood, Judge Thomas Hogan said in District of Columbia Court Wednesday. Prosecutors said in November they found terabytes of data that they were reviewing as evidence in the case. Lawyers indicated Wednesday that when they found what they found was so sensitive, the public could not even hear it discussed. The judge took the unusual step of kicking reporters and even Costco's own mother out of the courtroom for more than a half hour while prosecutors and the defense discussed what they found with the judge. The defense and government have filed a motion to seal the courtroom for certain matters that are not suitable for the public. Wow. Just imagine what he got out of there. Maybe he got the Awan files. After the public was allowed back in, Hogan expressed alarm. His accomplishments in the computer world allowed him to do the things he was doing. There's a sense of great risk to the public if Costco can access computers, he said. If he has access to info that only he has the key to, he could cause difficulty. Self-described at the time of doing it, and maybe now still, he was malicious and hostile, Hogan continued. He downloaded more information than was originally understood. There is no combination of conditions that could ensure the safety of the community. Whoa! Prosecutors said in court filings that even after he was caught bragging about how he used his position as a congressional IT aide to download data and used it to blackmail an aide, he expressed intention to commit more similar crimes while charges were pending. Wow. Through his lawyer, Costco, a slight 27-year-old with a buzz cut and a baggy orange prison jumpsuit, pleaded with the judge to help move him to a different jail and said that he wanted to avoid going to trial. Prosecutors said they were discussing a plea deal. Looks like he was planning a contest of who to dock next on YouTube and Twitter. That's amazing. Prosecutors also said that Costco had a prior felony conviction, a drug charge from college. Senator Maggie Hassan, a Democrat of New Hampshire, hired him as a systems administrator and gave him access to the office's data despite the felony record. Hassan fired him in May, or rather he was asked to resign for unspecified prior misconduct, according to her spokesman. But it is not clear that she revoked his super user IT credentials. I bet she didn't. Then Democratic Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee of Texas hired him, she has said in August, despite both a felony record and having just lost his job for misconduct. After the arrest, the Congresswoman claimed he was an intern, despite being a 27-year-old who had previously worked in the upper chamber. A spokesman for Jackson Lee, Robin Shand, refused to tell the Daily Caller News Foundation whether the office did a background check or called Hassan's office for a reference, and if so, what Hassan's office said. I'd like to remind everyone that Sheila Jackson Lee was the rep that during the Kavanaugh hearings was seen passing notes to Christine Blasey Ford, her lawyers, during the court hearings on the testimony for Judge Kavanaugh. She's also the one who had that mysterious swirl ring. Search Sheila Jackson Lee ring and tell me what you find. During the confirmation hearings of Kavanaugh, Costco allegedly posted Republicans' home addresses on Wikipedia, including from his computer in Jackson Lee's office. Okay, here I just want to comment. Has anyone ever tried to edit anything on Wikipedia? I had some clients one time who asked me to do this for them, and as soon as I made the edit, it was immediately overridden by somebody else. Okay, somebody with a higher security level at Wikipedia, I guess, because they didn't like what I had changed. I had removed some incorrect things about this individual, and I replaced it with the correct information. Seems like something that Wikipedia would want, but no, they were only interested in keeping the inflammatory information on the site. The defendant was caught in the act of burglarizing the office of United States Senator Maggie Hassan, his former employer, for the purpose of illegally accessing a computer in the senator's office, according to court papers. When the defendant recognized that he was caught by a staffer who knew the defendant well, he fled the office. However, only a few minutes later, the defendant sent a threatening email to the same staffer. Costco wrote, according to the papers, "I own everything. If you tell anyone, I will leak it all. Emails, Signal, conversations, Gmails, senators' children's health information, and socials." What an evil man. Prosecutors said they searched his home and found virtually a hacker's obstruction checklist and materials to impersonate congressmen, such as stationery from Hassan's office. Neither prosecutors nor the defense would tell the DCNF on what legal grounds the court was barring the public from hearing the extent of Costco's alleged breach of Congress. Hassan's office has declined to answer questions from the DCNF about what wrongdoing caused it to ask Costco to resign in May and why it didn't take additional measures or even possibly deactivate his credentials. I would suggest it may be because he was also blackmailing Hassan. Costco previously assisted other Democratic senators, including Senator Dianne Feinstein and former Senator Barbara Boxer, both of California, according to Fox News. Feinstein is on the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Another staffer from Feinstein's office was fired in 2013 for being a mole for China. Feinstein kept that issue quiet and later falsely characterized that aide as a driver as opposed to a senior staffer. He was definitely a senior staffer. One of Costco's lawyers claimed in October he was not an intern, but a fellow paid for by an outside institution, according to Fox News. But on Wednesday, a Costco attorney told the DCNF there was no fellowship and said you'd have to take that up with Sheila Jackson Lee as to why she called him an intern. A Department of Justice press release in October called him a volunteer. Sounds like they're trying to minimize their own culpability. Costco comes from a wealthy California family, and his lawyer assured the judge that the family could provide him the finest mental health and drug treatment under a renowned doctor there, but the judge ordered him to be held in jail. Good. He deserves it. All right, next, we have another story from the Gateway Pundit. Lawmakers say that Loretta Lynch was forthcoming in closed-door interview. Answered more questions than Comey on certain topics. Well, let's see. I'll be the judge of that. Loretta Lynch arrived on Capitol Hill Wednesday morning. Former Attorney General Lynch finished up a 6-hour closed-door interview with lawmakers Wednesday evening. Loretta Lynch arrived on Capitol Hill Wednesday morning as part of a joint investigation with the House Oversight and Government Reform Committees into the handling of the Clinton email investigation and her role in Russiagate. Lawmakers wanted to ask Loretta Lynch questions about her June 2016 tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton at the Phoenix International Airport and Comey's decision to usurp the DOJ when he gave a presser exonerating Hillary Clinton on July 5th. Lynch, Obama's corrupt attorney general, was subpoenaed by the House Judiciary Committee on Thanksgiving along with the equally corrupt former FBI Director James Comey. Comey testified twice to the committees, including on Monday, and refused to answer many questions. According to lawyers, Loretta Lynch was much more forthcoming about certain topics. Lynch and her lawyers weren't raising objections to questions like Comey and his lawyers did on many topics. Now, this is from CNN. It says a couple of different things. Leaving the interview, Democrats said there was nothing to learn from Lynch, while Republicans pointed to her differences with Comey in the Clinton investigation and said there were still questions about her meeting with the former president in 2016. You'll notice that obviously this is CNN because they downplay what she did say and they soft pedal what she didn't say. Lawmakers said Lynch's interview was less contentious than Comey, and she and her attorneys weren't raising objections to questions like Comey did with certain topics. Republican Congressman Issa said there were still questions over what happened with her tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton, suggesting that when Lynch met with him in 2016, Clinton could have helped the career of the nation's top law enforcement officer. Of course he did. We all know he did. It's ridiculous to think that he did anything less. And Q said that Lynch would have been appointed to the Supreme Court had Hillary Clinton have won. We would have been in dark days then, my friends. And the Gateway Pundit goes on to say the Republicans waited too long to subpoena Loretta Lynch and James Comey. House Democrats will take back the gavel in about 2 weeks. The House Judiciary will not release a transcript of Wednesday's interview with Loretta Lynch. The panel will release a transcript of today's interview as part of its investigation report, alongside transcripts of 16 other interviews by the end of the year. The story is developing. Hopefully, we will get some developments soon. I am very, very interested to see the transcript from this session. All right. Now, lastly, I wanted to talk about an incredible article on Neon Revolt's website. If you guys don't know who Neon Revolt is, go to neonrevolt.com right now and start looking around because there is volumes of information here. He does a great job of trolling the Chans and picking up breadcrumbs and putting them together in just enormous articles. Okay, so we're not going to read this whole article because it's huge, but we are going to look at some of the interesting things that were posted. This article is entitled Junior Senator Anon Heralds Legal Revelations for Q Researchers and Advent of the Q March, QAnon, Great Awakening, Neon Revolt. Apparently, there was someone posting on the boards. They used the name Junior Senator Anon. And at the end of this, we're going to try to do a little thinking about who it could be. Okay, so he talks about what happened. I know I said no new articles while I write my book, but this was quick to produce. Normally, I can fit a handful of images into shorter Gab posts. That's right, Neon Revolt is prolific on Gab. But this was too long to squash into Gab. And let's face it, there have been a slew of new Q posts I haven't covered. They haven't needed much decoding. Okay, so let's move on to Okay, essentially someone calling themselves Junior Senator Anon landed on Poll tonight and started a Q&A. Pollax jumped aboard, and after reviewing everything, I would say this was a visit from a legit insider. Obviously, feel free to disagree. This comes with all the standard disclaimers. What follows are all the questions asked by Anons, which were then answered by Junior Senator Anon. Expect all sorts of foul language ahead, so if anyone is offended by foul language, don't worry. I'm not going to speak these words out loud, and I just feel like it's better that way because I don't want to upset anybody. All right, so let's see. First of all, he states General Flynn will be exonerated. The Mueller probe is going to end very soon. Expect HRC to be indicted in the coming weeks. Barack Obama shortly after. AMA while I have the time. And here is a picture. It'd be great if we could figure out which room that's in. He says, what was the holdup? And he responds, Stroke's phone. Wiping it stalled the process. NSA had to get involved to recover what was on the device. Yes. Consistent with what I've heard about them having to pull something from Samsung Knox, which is a security program on Samsung devices. So just saying that seems legit. Someone asks, so Flynn is the marker? Junior Senator Anon answers yes. This Anon asks, what do you know about Knights Templar? What do you know about accelerationism? What is the odds Trump goes full Andrew Jackson and outs a call for a militia? I can't help but observe that he has a literal army of pissed white males. Is he aware of the JQ? Thanks. Haha, no militia, but he will audit the Fed and likely abolish it. That is wonderful news. Someone says, why isn't the NSA getting the records of Comey and Mueller's phones? You bet these two DNC hacks must have been chatting about their plans to overthrow the president like the giddy sissies they are. Junior Senator Anon says they are. Oh, F off, that wouldn't take more than 10 seconds for the NSA to pull up. And he says, do you know how difficult it is to get a hold of the records? If that was the case, most people in Washington would be in prison. Boom. Congress Anon? I don't like the Capone angle, getting them tax fraud, etc. I want them to hang for the pedo stuff. Will my prayers be heard? Actually. Junior Senator Anon, actually. And then he says, not everyone will go down for pedophilia. It's so difficult when, I'd say 40% of Washington has committed said crimes. Those who committed treason, however, they will be very easy to indict. Comey, Barack Obama, HRC, BC, Bill Clinton, Brennan, and many who worked in the DOJ. Wow. Okay, and someone asks, so basically he is not racially aware? Does he not think, given the history of Bolsheviks and German elite families, that they don't have immense hatred for him and his family? Or has he just sided with the race against white America? Just curious, is he out of touch with the working class America and history of it's a conscious decision to F us over? Thanks, bro. What world do you live in? Do you really think there's going to be a racial cleanse in the United States? I'm sorry, but it's not happening. The country would literally fall apart as we know it. Someone says, is the market setting up for a dip? And if so, should we buy the drop? No, it will be fine. I don't know about that one. Neon Revolt doesn't think so either. I think he's very wrong on this front. The market looks set up for a spectacular crash here, one which only requires a little push, perhaps from a Payseur sell-off. If anybody doesn't know who the Payseurs are, go check out the work done by In the Matrix because he's done some amazing stuff on that front. This is P in the Q posts. Hard to say, of course, but that's just my personal opinion. Okay, someone else asks, also I can't help but notice you dodged all the tough questions which his base would be most interested in. Most of us here aren't going to blindly continue to believe in him like Q-tards, and the rest of the country seems to be turning on him as well. If you are the real deal, I would expect he needs to be loyal to his base if he expects any back. It's very true, he needs to be loyal to his base. Otherwise, I don't have any sympathy that he keeps getting stabbed in the back by every J he surrounds himself with. Tell him how we said grow some effing balls and quit acting like a little bee about S. I've answered almost every question. I'm not telling you to support him or trust him. Do as you please. I'm simply telling you what's going on. He's no saint, but he's trying. He has 6 more years to make you guys happy. Then someone asks, LARP detected. Market is setting up for a significant drop right now. I didn't say bear. Or else Trump and media would not be spinning alternative narratives about why it's dropping. It's tariffs. No, it's the Fed. And Junior Senator Anand says, it is the Fed. If you can't realize that, I don't know what else to tell you. And he's right. We saw that today, guys. Okay, now it says they certainly have the balls to. So yes, I think it will happen. I just don't think it will be you that do it. OP, will the Jays accept white nationalists? You see what we are dealing with here, LOL. I cannot identify with these Goyim and can see why Trump wouldn't either. Israeli influence in something I'm not a fan of. Sadly, they are the only ally we have in the Middle East. Their mess is something we should have never been a part of in the first place. You can't expect us to regulate Hollywood and the media. I assume that is what is leading you to believe there's a white genocide because of the degeneracy it promotes. I get that, but let the free market decide for itself. How about you pursue a career in media and dismantle it from the inside? That's the only way something like that can be stopped. I would hope, at the very least, that we could expunge CIA and Mossad influence from Hollywood and maybe ban pornography on public health grounds. I can get on board with that, Neon. Then someone says, what was up with them sealing off the whole floor of the courthouse? Rumors are they were getting a case moved from Article 3 to an Article 1 court or something like that. And he says, exactly as you said. This was the post that attracted the most attention. I posted these images to Gab on Friday because, yeah, you may have heard, an entire court floor was sealed off for a mystery case. This is great because I wanted to cover this. Yes, entire floor at D.C. Federal Courthouse sealed off. Of course, we were all hoping that it was for the sealed indictments for the evil cabal. Of course, the entire left was hoping that it was sealed indictments for Trump and his compatriots. There's some information on the cases that we can't know about, the story. I will have this link in the pinned comment below, guys, so if I'm going through this too quickly, you will be able to read it later. This article is very long. We'll get to what Anand's discovered about this at the end of the drops. He says, trust Sessions, trust the plan. Haha, Sessions is a loser. Don't trust that man. Not evil, just very backwards in the way he thinks. Lame, but everyone is entitled to their opinions. I'm not surprised Junior Senator Anand doesn't know the details of the plan. And he says 6 more years. Not if he doesn't get some S done in the next 2 years. Fair enough. We sure as hell can when they are regulating our speech and when we preach openly about feeding us out of existence into one brown race. Yeah, okay. For all the poll bros that ain't here and all the working class that ain't here to say it, F you and F your BS. You think the Goyim are retarded. Well, regulating them when they violate free speech is something we can do, and we are working on it. We can't stop them from promoting sex, drugs, etc. That's just the way it is. He's right, but we can vote at the box office with our pocketbooks. We do not have to watch television programs or movies that promote these things that we stand against morally. Keep that in mind. Okay, what was in those envelopes, messages at the funeral? I really have no idea. I couldn't tell you. I've seen people online going crazy over it, but it hasn't been brought up around here. What specifically is HRC to be charged with? Gee, lots of things. Treason, money laundering, war crimes, you name it. She is truly the most corrupt individual to set foot in Washington. Everybody knows it. All this means is you are incapable or scared to do what needs to be done. 1, martial law. 2, militia. Matter of national security at this point. The only reason he is scared or he doesn't care about America as much as his cabal. If what you are saying is true, then the country is utterly effed. Having said that, how does one join in such a scenario? Martial law is not out of the question, but you are asking me if President Trump would call citizens to arms and practically go to war with minorities. That's never going to happen. I agree with that. Yeah, so which of her myriad of crimes are you actually going to be able to nail her on? Money laundering would be the most obvious and easiest. But with that said, many other things could be brought to light during a trial. You never really know. The foundation is just the beginning, Neon says. It will lead to many, many more things coming to light. Woo boy, this lawmaker doesn't even know who's behind the curtain. Not our greatest ally, in my opinion, they are the worst. The Middle East is a very complex situation. It's nice to have allies, but the United States is its own and best ally at the end of the day. In my opinion, of course. Thanks for visiting, Anon. Around half of the U.S. population are asleep. Despite last week's revelations, many of these people believe Obama, Hillary, and Comey can do no wrong. Assuming arrests will happen and military tribunals being held, what is the plan to quell the resulting public unrest? Is there a plan to wake up those who still believe in Saint Obama? If citizens are stupid enough to riot and protest in support of treasonous criminals, then martial law is the only option. It's not something I want. I'd actually be very disappointed and ashamed if we had to. Okay. Yes, same here, but don't underestimate the left's collective stupidity. Right on. Not go to war with anyone. I want to see the war against us stopped. We are being ethnically genocided by forced integration. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but again, that's up to the people to solve the problem, not the government. We have been pushing so hard to protect our sovereignty and keep out unwanted immigrants. It's all we can really do. In my mind, what you're saying really wouldn't be a problem if the government was shrunk and local government had more influence. In a perfect U.S., we could segregate ourselves, live where we want to amongst people like-minded and similar people. Can that be achieved at some point? Absolutely. Can it happen overnight? No. That's right. There is going to have to be a ton of work done to arrange ourselves into collectives with strong local governments and a smaller federal government. But it's something that can happen over time. Okay, aiding Israel is a waste of money and despicable in my eyes, he said. And anything related to Europe. Besides the UK setting up people in the Trump campaign, no, nothing really. Interesting to see Junior Senator Anon basically advocating for ethnic balkanization of the U.S. Might be inevitable, honestly. Tribalism is a powerful instinct ingrained in humanity. It creates high-trust societies. That's hard to overcome. Ooh, this is a good one. What will be done about all of the media that is obviously complicit in their crimes and have peddled the Russia frame job? I'm guessing they will be eaten alive by leftists for tricking them so bad. But is there any plan to deal with the Mockingbird media? In my honest opinion, CNN and MSNBC will go out of business. Awesome. 2 years of promising the arrest of the president. What reason will people have to watch anymore? Okay, it all comes down to the news coverage. If it's fair, they won't riot. If they tell people Trump is arresting political opponents, they will. That's simple. Indeed, if the coverage is in favor of the criminals, we have truly lost our way as a country. And it is right now, guys. If you are 100% sure that the media would spin it as Trump being literally Hitler, excuse me, and hailing his political opponents, then what world do you live in, Senator? When there is hard evidence that will lead to an indictment followed by a prison sentence, I would pray to God Almighty that they cover it fairly. Did I say they would? No, I don't expect them to, but they would have to realize they would be out of business when this is all said and done if it's not covered fairly. Can Anon tell us anything about what happened to Senator Rand Paul the day he was allegedly beaten by his neighbor? His ribs were damaged. I don't buy the story. Haha, I hear his neighbor was just an a-hole. What about human trafficking? The evidence is all over. Laura Geiler, the 2 journalists in North Korea, or does that cut too close to the bone for the Illuminati? Sure, look into Haiti. Like I said, amidst a trial, lots of things can come out. Sweet. We've looked into Haiti far more than our current government. Don't patronize us. I didn't mean that in a condescending way. Sorry if you took it like that. I know this board has done pretty solid work regarding her mishandlings and crimes. But with that said, you folks go down rabbit holes that lead to nowhere. Not all the time, but sometimes. All roads lead to Rome. Godfather 3. True. Politics aside for a second and a little personal opinion. As a Christian, I'm greatly ashamed of the Vatican. I don't know the whole story, but from what I've read, it's just so sad. Read the book An Open Letter to Confused Catholics. Lays everything out pretty well. When there is hard evidence that will lead to an indictment followed by a prison sentence, I would pray to God Almighty they cover it fairly. Did I say they would? No. I don't expect them to. Okay, this is what they said earlier. Okay, fait accompli. Yes. I understand that. Okay, we go down rabbit holes because you don't think the people are good enough for the truth. We are left guessing and believing all sorts of BS because all we know for certain is that our government on both sides of the aisle has been effing us for decades. I understand that, and I wish it wasn't that way. OP, how do you see the GOP being able to hold on to Texas? It seems to be turning blue overnight. It'd be nice if folks in California would stop moving to Texas, or at least stop voting the same exact way they did in California, which led them to move there in the first place. It's pretty mind-boggling if you ask me. That's the most annoying thing about Californians right now. They turned their state into a burning hellhole, and now they're exporting the same ideas to nicer areas with absolutely zero self-awareness. Austin is basically little Ventura at this point. Can you answer my question? I know people who died, and it's infuriating to be treated like an idiot despite massive evidence and inconsistency in official reporting. Which ally did 9/11? I wasn't in government during 9/11, and I have as many questions as you. Do I have my suspicions? Of course. Cop out. I'm really sorry. I know it's a letdown. I see it a lot of QAnons as I'm scrolling through the thread. Haha. Also, sorry if you think I'm ignoring some questions. I'm trying to answer as many as possible. I'll stand here for a little bit longer. Okay, and someone said, unfortunately, the Patriot Act is necessary. You know what would make the Patriot Act obsolete? Ending immigration and kicking out anyone who can't pass a lie detector test. America is largely unsalvageable without a civil war, in my opinion. And someone says, no, F that. This is the single most unconstitutional piece of legislation ever passed in the history of our country, along with the NDAA. F that. Our founding fathers are rolling in their effing graves. Necessary my ass. Took the words out of my mouth. Am I happy the NSA is helping in regards to this case? Sure. But in general, I wish they never existed. Albeit, I'd rather have the military surveil than the FBI or CIA. Regardless, it's unconstitutional. Ask you anything? Okay. What the F are you smoking? Marlboro Reds. Can you ask Trump to come out as gay so that he will be the first gay president? Haha, come on. That would be pretty classic, though. Thanks for the laugh. Here, I'll give you one question. Which of the following is your best estimate of the probability that Trump will get to replace RBG in 2019? 99, 50%, 10%, 1%. Gee, maybe 50%? I'm not going to wish death on that woman. She isn't healthy, though, so it's very likely. I mean, to be fair, she looks like she's ready to croak at any moment. Very true. How much longer do you guys want me to keep going? I'm actually having a good time. Okay. And then, how many good people are there in politics? I know there are no saints, but how many politicians are actually in their position to help the people? There is a good amount. My favorite people around are congressmen from smaller areas. They seem the most human and try to be involved. Someone says, speaking of Supreme Court justices, what's your take on BK? Sounds like we just signed up for more U.S. citizen spying and data collecting. Can't say I'm the biggest fan in the world, but it's better than a progressive. Same. I'm going to call it quits for the night, my friend. If I ever post again, how can I let you know it's me? If there's no possibility, I appreciate most of you taking the time to hear me out and ask questions. He can't, really. I mean, he'd have to establish his credibility somehow. But even then, without a trip code, it's a crapshoot. That said, go back to the post where Junior Senator Anand confirmed that the case was getting moved from an Article 3 to an Article 1 court. Article 1 are basically military courts, tribunals, created by Congress to give the powers given the powers granted to it by Article 1 of the Constitution, thus its name. Article 3 courts are more what we normally think of as regular courts, from the Supreme Court down to the district courts, the judicial branch of things. In other words, a military case was getting converted into a judicial case. Now, who could require such treatment? Anons expanded their thinking over on Q Research. Very interesting post here on the latest secret court battle. This poster claims it is a dispute about transfer of a case or a proceeding to an Article 1 court. To be honest, I never heard of that, and Quick Look offers no easy answers, but will dig and post when I understand what they are referring to or when other Anons weigh in. Carry on, friends. Okay, he's back. Found what I wanted. The Article 1 courts are set up with their implied powers given to Congress in Article 1. SCOTUS keeps a close and jealous eye on these to limit their use and not permit infringement of the judicial branch. Congress has a whole slew of these courts, including tax court, veterans appeals, claims versus federal government, bankruptcy, but most noteworthy is the Court of Military Commission Review. The United States Court of Military Commission Review reviews military commission cases submitted to the court. The court is composed of panels of at least 3 appellate military judges. The court was created in 2009 after Congress passed the Military Commissions Act of 2009, which allowed the rights of the accused in military commissions to be expanded. If these posts are correct and the dispute centers on this fight is whether or not the transfer of Mueller inquiry to military court. Don't know who is pushing what yet. Okay, guys, I think this is it. This is the start of the military tribunals, so to speak. Here is the link Anon referenced, accepting administrative law judges from the competitive service. Search, okay. If they try to move something from an Article 3 court to Article 1, it must benefit someone to get it under a or been working on something this entire time, and now they're having this military Article 1 court prosecute it or judiciate it. This could be very big, and Neon Revolt says, if nothing else, it is the biggest takeaway from all. This is a summary of that executive order. Earlier this month, President of Law Judges, provided they are active lawyers or judges. Previously, the Office of Personnel Management would independently vet candidates and then submit to agencies a short list of potential names. Sounds like POTUS was trying to streamline the hiring process for administrative judges. Maybe get ready for an influx of cases? Q has told us the judicial branch is dirty. Maybe white hats are trying to get these cases heard with Article 1 judges and avoid the corrupt, dirty federal court judges, and the cabal is fighting back. Wild, huh? Well, just wanted to make you aware of that, seeing as none of it would have been picked up upon by any Q aggregators. Okay, well, that's all I'm going to cover from this article because we're only about halfway through. I think there was some amazing pieces of information. I would love to hear what you guys think. And now that we have reached the end, who do we think could possibly be Junior Senator Anon? Let's see. Senator Anon? Could he be the Junior Senator Anon, rather? Let's see. I don't know. I think Matt Gaetz is probably one of the wokest, excuse the turn of phrase, senators out there. And every time I see him speak, it seems like he is honest and forthright. And I could totally see him doing something like this. He was the first person that came to mind. All right, now, one more thing before we go. All right, guys, this is my friend, Harry Hubbard. This is the channel that he runs. It's called the Illinois Caves. And the Illinois Caves is a little-known archaeological site in southern Illinois where there was a lot of anomalous artifacts discovered. Stuff that was apparently, purportedly from the Ptolemaic dynasty. So it was, the Ptolemaic dynasty was lost to history. It includes Alexander the Great, Cleopatra, lots of gold, tablets, stone carvings. It's an almost endless source of just fascinating artifacts. And Harry is the producer and creator of all of these videos. So he has been making videos for years, like literally decades. He was onto this before YouTube even existed. So A Reason to Dig, 1996, that's the video that I accidentally uploaded to my channel when I was trying to upload it for him to his channel. So everyone can come here, and I will leave a link directly to A Reason to Dig. I am very interested to see how many people would come over here and subscribe to Harry for me and watch this video. It's got 222 views as of this recording. It's just after midnight, and I would love to wake up tomorrow and see Harry's subscriber count just through the roof. So as I said at the beginning of the video, Harry does not know that I run this YouTube channel. So it will be a major surprise for him to see that some random channel had sent a bunch of people over there to view his videos and to subscribe. And I think it would be a nice surprise for him. And Harry's a really good friend of mine. So if you guys are interested in seeing that Reason to Dig video, definitely head over to Harry's channel, Harry Hubbard. You can also search for the Illinois Caves and find many of his videos. His videos are also widely pirated. It's kind of sad. So if you see something on the Illinois Caves and it's not on Harry's channel, definitely, I would go to Harry's channel and watch it rather than watching it on somebody else's channel. So I guess that's all I've got for you tonight. If you could please, if you're not already, like, share, subscribe. I also started a Patreon if anyone is interested in donating on that. If you don't, that's totally cool, but it's there. The link will be in the pinned comment below. Thank you everybody so much for watching and sticking through this video because I know it was a long one, but I had to get that information out to you because all of the articles were super important, and most of all, I love my brother Harry. So thank you once again for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And everyone, good luck and God bless.